Hey, it's great seeing you again. In today's video, I want to talk about negotiating the salary offer. If you're in career transition, or you're looking for a new job, or you've been interviewing for some time, and you think that there's a offer forthcoming, and you're now considering, well, should I be negotiating whatever salary offer is made? Should I not negotiate it? When should I negotiate it? How much should I ask for? These are all questions that I'm going to answer in today's video. So my name is Bill Benoist. I'm a certified professional career coach here in Silicon Valley. And I know that the question about salary negotiation is front and center in most people's minds when they're in career transition or an offer has just been made. So I want to share some numbers with you. First off, 73% of hiring managers, and this really has not changed much over the years, 73% of hiring managers expect the candidate to try and negotiate a salary offer. 73%. But here's something that's kind of startling, and that is only 44% of candidates actually will try to negotiate the salary offer. And of that 44%, the vast majority of them are men. I don't have the exact breakdown. I did read it at one time. I know it was, quite a big difference there. But just know this, the vast majority that negotiate the salary offer are men of that 44%. And I think that's one of the reasons that also leads to the inequalities in salaries between men and women. Looking at the Bureau of Labor Statistics recently, and I think it was around 79-80 cents per every dollar. So a woman was making 80 cents to every $1 that a man was making, and if that woman was African American or Hispanic, those numbers were even lower. So if you are a woman and you're in one of these positions where a salary offer is being made, I want you to keep this in mind, that it's really in your best interest to be negotiating that salary. And the reason why I say that is for this next number, which I think is a number that you really want to pay attention to, and that is 85% of individuals that negotiate their salary are successful. So, give you an example of this. One of my clients a couple of weeks ago, he had got caught up in a reduction in workforce back at the end of January. And so he was interviewing with this one company. He had gone through several different interviews, and I guess it was early last week, they called him up and they made him an offer. Now, at his last company, he was making $405,000 a year. I know that's a lot of money, but I want you to keep this in mind. He was making $405,000 a year, and this new company offered him $435,000. Significant increase, right? But he was smart. He had done his research, which I'll talk about in a moment, but he knew what his value was in the industry. And he came back and he said he was very excited about the offer, but would they be willing to explore $475,000? The hiring manager told him and said, I need to talk with a couple of individuals on this, so I'll have to get back to you. It was a very long, intense 4.5-hour wait between phone calls, but the hiring manager did call him back and told him they were going to accept his counter offer. Again, 85% of individuals out there that negotiate their salary are successful in this. So now that we know that, how do we go about it? What do we do? What do we say? Well, the first thing that you need to do is you need to do some research, like what my client did. He knew what his value was in the industry for the position that he held. So you need to do some research out there. There's a couple of different resources. Number one, there's payscale.com. There's a number of different resources, websites that you can go to, but I like payscale.com because this website does ask you a lot of questions, really trying to narrow down specifically the position that you're in, the area that you're in, your skills, everything that you have. So you can be prepared to be answering a lot of questions with payscale.com. That's one of them. I like Glassdoor because Glassdoor employees are able to actually upload anonymously their current salaries out there. So Glassdoor is able to average these things out not only for the industries but even for specific companies. Bureau of Labor Statistics is a good one. It's a little bit complicated to get through, but it's completely free, and if you have the patience there, it's a little bit of a learning curve, but you can find good information on salaries for the positions that you're applying for. And then finally, one that I used when I was a hiring manager was I would leverage staffing agencies. So like Robert Half or Adecco. Just about any large staffing agency out there has salary guides on their website. If you are a hiring manager, you might have to trade your email address and a phone number and probably expect a few sales calls, in the next couple of days. If you're a candidate, you might have to trade them a resume for the salary guide, but you know what, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, getting your resume in their database. But the salary guides I found were really useful because I was able to actually, go through and based upon the skills, years experience in the industry, and even locations where the individual lived, to take in account the colos and stuff like this, cost of livings. It was really good. That's what I used. So there's a number of resources out there. You need to understand what your value is in the industry. Now there's going to be a range. In all of these things, there's going to be a range between a low amount and a high amount. You need to have a specific dollar amount in mind. You can't sit there and say, well, thank you very much, Mr. Hiring Manager, for this wonderful offer of $100,000. Would you be willing to go, anywhere between 112 to 120? No, you don't share a range. You need to have a specific number in mind. And when you're figuring out what your specific number is, I need you in the back of your mind, need to know what your bottom number is. You have to have this bottom number set, and if they're offering you lower than what your bottom number is, or maybe so close to it that you're going to be unhappy, you may just simply say thank you and move on, because otherwise, they say that 70% of the workforce is suffering from Sunday night blues. They don't want to go to work Monday morning, and if you take one of these offers that is that low, you're probably going to be in that miserable state within just a couple of weeks. All right, so you know that you have to do your research. Second, and you also know that you don't want to be quoting a range, you need to be quoting a number. So what should that number be? Well, the rule of thumb when negotiating salary is between 10 and 20%. 10% increase, you really are not going to be raising any eyebrows. 20%, yeah, you're going to be raising some eyebrows. My client, when he went from the 435 to the 475, that was well within that range there. Actually, from 405, what he was making at his previous company, to 475, he was still within about 17.5% increase. So he was well within the 20% increase. But you want to, you're really kind of probably not going to be successful if you're asking for more than 20%, but 10% to 20% is usually the rule of thumb when it comes to negotiating the salary. So then, what is it that you're going to say to that hiring manager? How do you do this? So first thing you're going to do is, with all sincerity, is you need to thank them for making this opportunity happen. You want to acknowledge the offer that is on the table, and then you want to provide your counter offer, and then you're going to back up your counter offer with your skills, your knowledge, your accomplishments, and your market research. So let me show you how this works. So let me begin by saying I am so excited about this opportunity. I know I'm going to be a great fit on the team, and I'm looking forward to making contributions with this company. And I want to acknowledge the $100,000 that's on the table. I do want to ask, would you be willing to explore $112,000? And the reason why I'm asking for $112,000 is based upon my skills and based upon the accomplishments in my career, accomplishments that we discussed during the interview process. And also I did do some market research on this position in the industry, and I know $112,000 is within the average range that is being paid by comparable companies. And then let's see what happens, because that's all you really need to do. It's as simple as that. You just simply want to you want to let that hiring manager know that you're really excited for the opportunity. You want to acknowledge the amount that is offered. You then want to counter that offer, and you want to back it up with your skills and accomplishments and your market research. 85% of individuals that do it this way are successful.